It is the end of the Denver Nuggets. Apparently, they're down 2-0 to the Timberwolves. The Knicks are up 2-0. The Celtics, Celtics, Cavs, we know how that's going to go. And the Mavericks, Luka does not look quite right. Let's get into foul trouble.
James.
Yes.
Since we have been here last, the NBA announced their MVP and Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah.
I've got a little...
Yeah, we didn't even comment on Rookie of the Year. It was foregone.
Yeah, that happened. I got a little trivia question. So 3 players ever have gotten votes for the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. One of those people was actually this year. Can you name those 3 people?
We got to go with Michael Jordan.
Yep, that's one.
We got to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo. He won DPOY and MVP the same year.
Yep. Or okay, maybe this stat is wrong. Maybe it's 4. Maybe it's 4.
Okay, well, we're going to add Giannis because he did that a couple years ago.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that.
So I don't know who the third guy is. Maybe it's Hakeem Olajuwon?
Hakeem is there.
Okay.
Yep.
And are you ready, Patrick? It is none other than Sacramento's finest, Domantas Sabonis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. LeBron James is in there too. But yeah, I thought we should give Domantas Sabonis some love. I thought
we should give Domantas Sabonis some love because some dumb, biased Sacramento Kings writer voted him for DPOY and MVP.
Exactly. He's still playing right now, right?
No.
He hasn't been playing for a while.
All right, we didn't mean to start the pod with Kings takes. I still contend that Fox is the best player in the Kings. We can get into that over the offseason, though.
Yeah, we got plenty of time to get into that. There are 4 playoff series. Boy, is it easier to follow 4 playoff series than 8. But there's 4 playoff series still going on right now. You indicated to each one of them. Where do you want to start off?
Well, let's start with the I think the biggest one, which is Denver, Minnesota. And, after game 1, I was still pretty high on Denver. That game was about a 7-point win for the Timberwolves, but it was a close game with about 7 minutes left. This second game was one of those games that, it kind of reminded me of that Mavs-Lakers series where the Lakers are like clotheslining Mavs players because they're so upset. Like Jamal Murray's attempting to throw a heat pack at a ref, but he's so off he can't even throw accurately.
Can we play that game of how many players left in the NBA playoffs would not get suspended for throwing a heat pack onto the court?
Well, I think what we've learned between a lot of the Westbrook punching, the Embiid drag down, and now the heat pack, I guess no one gets suspended anymore.
Yeah, no, they don't want to lose their stars, which I like, but that was like crazy. Do you
think he would have got suspended if he landed it?
I think he would have got suspended if his name was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Like, what the hell is going on? But you know what? I get it. With that level of belt to ass, absolute like destruction from the Minnesota Timberwolves, like I get that he's in his feels because it seems like this series is just
it seems. Over. I think it's really tough. Jamal's playing through a calf strain or something like that.
Yeah.
A hamstring. So Jamal doesn't look 100%.
3 for 18 in this game.
I think even if Jamal did look 100%, now I hate to play that game because you never really know, but it just the same thing they did in game 1. Game 2, it's the constant ball pressure. If Jamal's bringing the ball up the court, they're on him 94 feet. If Jokic is bringing the ball up the court, they're on him 94 feet. And I think the tough thing for the Nuggets that is a weakness that we're kind of seeing now is like Gordon, Porter, and Caldwell-Pope. They're not really ball handlers, right? And when you bring in Reggie Jackson, it's to spell Murray. So you kind of have the same issue of like, you really only have one proper ball handler and you have a facilitator in Jokic. But as good as it is when Jokic is bringing the ball up the court, I think it's better for their transition attack than it is for their half-court sets because so much of their half-court offense revolves around Jokic. So when he's bringing the ball up and they can't get those early in the shot clock, push aheads to Gordon, it's kind of tough. And I think the other thing that the Wolves are doing so well that I think most teams just struggle with against Denver is like they're cutting off the interior passing.
Yeah. I think that's like the key point right there. Like the Nuggets are really like a post-out offense. And when you have the length that the Wolves have, they're just kind of like making like a circle around Jokic. And I've never really, at least in the recent history of Jokic in the playoffs, I haven't seen him so bothered. And that has a lot to do with the length of the Wolves top to bottom. But we didn't even bring up, we didn't have the defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert, in this game, which gave so many problems to the Nuggets in game one. And like, I mean, I guess that might have been part of it, of like, you're scheming for Rudy Gobert, then 2 hours before the game, you find out he's not going to play. But like, this didn't even seem like an Anthony Edwards game to me. This just seemed like a collective Minnesota Timberwolves. This is our culture. This is how we're playing, and we're going to like shove it down your throat.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of those games that it's so hard to even reconcile what the meaning of it was, because Denver was just so discombobulated. I kind of refuse to believe they're going to look like that again, even if they get blown out. I just don't think it'll look the same. Mm-hmm. Like we had some like Jokic behind the back pass to nobody, kick ahead pass to. There was one pass Denver threw where I think Porter is like on the wing and someone's in the corner and the guy just throws it like in between them out of bounds, and it's like this team is just mentally broken right now. And they're going back to Minnesota. That's the scary thing, is it happened in Denver.
This is the first time Denver has lost back-to-back playoff games at home since 2021 against the Phoenix Suns when they were swept. Max, we haven't even went to you yet. How are you feeling, my man? Our resident Timberwolves fan.
Shout out to Pierre Gobert, the new child of
Pierre
Rudy.
Gobert.
No way. Is that his actual...
Isn't it like Roberto?
I don't know. Actually, I just guessed.
I think it's Robert or something like that.
I hope it's Pierre. It's the most French name.
I think it's like Robert.
Robert?
I could be wrong on that.
Hey, congratulations to Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert is
Which
Robert Gobert's
you've
father.
got to be nervous with Gobert coming back into the series after becoming a father.
No,
we
dad
saw
bump.
this. We saw this with Fred VanVleet.
Dad bump. Yeah.
Dad bump.
Yeah, it was funny. One of my friends was like, "Oh, do you think he's gonna be like super tired from staying up, like taking care of the baby and like changing diapers?" And I was like, "Rudy Gobert's not changing diapers. Like, let's be honest."
Also, dude, I don't know if you know this, but these NBA players be staying up till 2 a.m. on these flights like every night.
Right.
He's built
Guys
for
are night
this.
owls.
No, I'm stoked though, dude. Like, just when you look at like this game, that lineup, we put Cat at the 5, and we got like Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards out there, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels. Like, they're so long and tall. Like, I know this is not like a groundbreaking take, but like when you watch both of them double team the same player, it's like you can't even see the nugget that they're on top of.
Which is crazy because Denver's a big team.
Yeah, they are, and they look small. And I think partially that's because Aaron Gordon. Where has Aaron Gordon been this entire series?
I think that's what's tough with Gordon is like in these matchups where he can't really fully facilitate his, strength advantage, he becomes a much less effective player.
Do you know how? Wow, I'm shocked by the amount of points he scored last game. Do you know?
Single digits?
No, 20 points. He scored 20 points last game. Was a minus 33 while he was on the court.
Yikes.
But yeah, I mean, so I have a question for both of you guys. I kind of want to get Max's answer first, just from the emotional standpoint. Mm-hmm. What does it mean if the Timberwolves win this series in 4 or 5? What does it mean?
You mean like for the
Big
rest
picture.
of the season? Big picture?
Big picture, what does it mean? Yeah, for the rest of the plebs, however you want to answer this question.
I was actually thinking about this on the drive over, because I think obviously I'm stoked because I'm a Timberwolves fan, but I also think it's like the Wolves being good and honestly the Thunder being this good are one great for the NBA in terms of like small teams, small markets being like at the forefront of the league, and also like it's good for basketball because I think it officially signals the end of the like Splash Brothers like perimeter shooting frenzy style of play. Like I feel like we've like swung back on the pendulum to just like well-rounded roster team play.
Yeah, it's more 90s style, but not so bad scoring. What about you, James? Where are you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think in conjunction with the second half of the season, how they kind of up the physicality more toward playoff levels, and then obviously in the playoffs, we're seeing like if they're going to allow this level of physicality that they had in the second half of the regular season, like team constructions like the Wolves and even the Nuggets too, I think benefit from that level of physicality. So I think it is going to be more of like a forwards and bigs game again, if that's how they officiate it. I think the problem the NBA's had is like wildly inconsistent officiating, and I kind of think officiating is what really determines like roster building and what kind of a roster can be effective over time. But yeah, I mean,
Zeroing in on the Timberwolves, what does it mean?
means they're Western favorites, baby.
Okay.
You mean
To
like,
me-
are you trying to get me to say like this is the dawn of the Timberwolves era?
I would like you to say it. If you believe it, I want you to say it.
I just would hate to have those words played back to me.
I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, especially since we're 1 week removed away from me picking Denver in 5. So this might be really hyperbolic, but if the Wolves sweep this and beat the Thunder or the Mavs, like I don't really care who's coming out of the East. I pick the Wolves to win.
Absolutely. And I think most people are on that, except like everybody outside of Boston is like on the same page, I think. Right?
I mean, not me.
Oh,
Not me.
Yeah, you've been Celtics all year.
I've been Celtics all the way through, and I mean, maybe this is our time to talk about the Celtics. Just in 2 minutes.
I just haven't. I didn't watch the Celtics Cavs game 1. Obviously, I was like box score watching. I had it on in the background, but just not a competitive game.
Yeah, exactly. Like we have yet to see everything that I've seen from the Celtics thus far has been what I've expected, except for the one crazy shooting game that the Heat had in that series. Boston has looked like the best team in the NBA. They really haven't had to have their stars sweat at all, which we'll see what effects that has.
I don't know, Patrick. I think Minnesota has clearly looked like the best team in the playoffs.
They have, but
Vibes
I don't think the Celtics have had an opportunity just yet.
to like really show how great they are.
Yeah, I mean, all they've done is like won every game by like 15 plus points.
Yeah, I mean they did lose one,
They did, but
and they're playing the Jimmy Butler-less Heat and the Cavs, whereas Minnesota is playing like the Phoenix Suns and Denver Nuggets. I don't know. It's like they're doing the same thing against way better opponents.
that's true. But like, you can only take
Yeah, you
out
can
who's
only
in
play
front of
who's in
you.
front of you. That's
You
true.
can only play who's in front of you.
Yeah, I wish I had more to offer to the Celtics. Like Celtics, they've got their ticket to the ECF. It feels like it's an annual. I feel like the Celtics are like Eastern Conference Finals, like season ticket holders.
Yeah.
It's like every year they just before the season starts, they buy their golden ticket to the conference finals, and they're like, "All right, we'll do the
We'll be
usual
there."
Celtics discourse until we get there, and then our season really starts."
But isn't Kristaps being out like kind of huge?
It definitely is, but I think there's a good chance that he can be back for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to get into the Knicks Pacers series, but God, both of those teams seem like they're going to be like the knight in frickin' Monty Python by the time they get there. Like no arms, no legs, just blood spurting out and just bouncing around.
The Knicks are winning every game they play by just like the skin of their teeth, it seems like. I mean, this last game they were up by like 10, right? But I feel like all
Bare-
this,
it got
it was
close
a
again
close
at the
game.
end,
It got really close at the end.
yeah.
Is it time to? Is it Knicks Pacers?
Yeah, we'll hit
time?
Knicks Pacers. I mean, so the Knicks are up 2-0. I think as a if you're supporting the Knicks, you got to feel a little shaky about that 2-0 compared to the. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, right with the Philly 2-0, you had the second game that was like that was a miracle. But somehow I feel like this 2-0 feels even a little bit more like, how are we 2-0?
Absolutely, because you know what? Mitchell Robinson, he's out 6 to 8 weeks. Bojan Bogdanovic, he's not coming back. Jalen Brunson missed virtually all of the first half of yesterday's game, and then came back and dropped 30 in the second half.
Brunson was unbelievable.
Doing a
to close
Willis
that game.
Reed impression. Like that's the kind of storybook shit that this Knicks team keeps doing that I'm like, is Dolan just like, okay, we got to stage this fucking thing. Like, this is Knicks history right here. But like, OG Anunoby was incredible in this game.
And he's out now.
He's out now. There's going to be a point of no return with this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've gotten any word. So OG Anunoby has a sore hamstring. It was kind of a weird play. He's like running up the court. It looks like he maybe like sprains his calf or he strains his hamstring while running up for a layup. He kind of gingerly walks back after a fast break. Yeah, I mean, without OG, it's going to be kind of tough. But this series, I feel like, even though the Knicks are 2-0, I feel like the Pacers are the ones who have dictated tempo and the feel of the series way more than the Knicks have, because I think the Knicks wanted this to be a lot more like that Sixers series where the games are ending closer to 100, but these games are going into the 115, 120s.
They have to score 130 to win this game.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, if you're I think it's nice that you're able to score so effectively on this Pacers defense, because one thing I failed to mention on the last pod was, like, I talked a lot about, like, contact elements. Like, are the Pacers ready for this level of physicality? But, you know, if the Pacers are willing to just become a lot more physical, it can up their defense. Game 1, kind of. Game 2, not at all. But, like, I think it's just the Knicks. There's just some crazy... I don't want to say it's unsustainable because it's been, like, almost 10 games now of them sustaining this. Or it's been 8 games of the playoffs of them sustaining, like, consistent offensive rebounding, kickouts to DiVincenzo and Hart, and putbacks with Hartenstein on these rebounds. But it just feels like so much of their offense is coming off second chances, which it just, to me, even if you're the best offensive rebounding team, is inherently unreliable to me. So that's where I'm a little like, you know, what does this look like in Indy?
No, it totally is. And you look at their fourth quarter, just their fourth quarter offensive rebounding has been absolutely insane throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, like in game 1, they got like no boards in the first half.
So they have the most fourth quarter offensive rebounds with 36. The next most of a team that's still around in the playoffs is 23 from the Nuggets. So it's just like they're absolutely blowing everyone else out of the water in terms of fourth quarter offensive rebounding. But I mean, like, what we're saying, like, this war of attrition of this Knicks roster. So Josh Hart, he played for 48 minutes yesterday.
He's going to do it again.
And this was his third straight game of playing all 48 minutes. Do you know the last person to play 48 minutes in 3 or more games, they did it in 2012, 2013.
Was it Jimmy Butler or Luau Deng?
It was Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I know.
He played 4 tips for that very same coach. So he did the 48 minutes in 5 games in that playoff run, which that hasn't been matched since. But, like, this doesn't happen. Like, players don't play this much. The most since 2000, Allen Iverson in his 2000-2001 playoff run played all 48 minutes 9 times.
Yeah, I mean, their whole team was built around him. But, yeah, I mean, I still think the Knicks are going to win this series. I feel like it's kind of weird. The Knicks are up 2-0, and we seem kind of, like, pessimistic about them. But, I mean, you're right. I think losing OG is huge because it's like their record when OG plays is like this crazy, like 20-4 or 20-5 type record, or 21-22 now. They keep winning these games. But I don't know. I guess the thing for the Knicks, though, like, I don't want to say bright side for the Knicks because they're literally up 2-0. But one thing I do like for the Knicks is, like, even with OG out, I still think they're just going to be able to kind of score at will. Especially, it seems like in these, like, clutch situations, like Brunson's getting whatever the hell he wants.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, clutch point guard play, I think it's the big difference thus far. Because Tyrese Halliburton, he was amazing in the first half. The dude absolutely has disappeared in the second half of both of these games. Do you think it's like, at this point, is it fair to keep giving him the pass of, like, oh, he's getting over this injury? Like, he just, like, I really couldn't take my attention away from it because you listen to the TNT call, right?
Yeah.
Reggie Miller is really something on this call because, like, you can tell how bad he wants the Pacers to win this. Like, this is his, like, old nemesis, but he is being really, really, like, just, like, blatant and clear of just, like, how disappointed he's been. Like, it would be tough for me if I was Tyrese Halliburton to listen back to that call because he's constantly saying, like, if you're the guy and you're an MSG and you're in that Pacers uniform, you've got to go take it. You can't just look to pass every play. And then I feel like that's what Tyrese Halliburton is doing in the second half of these games.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we saw with the Sixers, right? Like, the best way to really go at this Knicks defense, especially because when they have all that size, is like your guards. Like, Maxey was incredibly effective, and obviously Maxey's a lot faster than Halliburton, but Halliburton is very skilled, floater game, 3-point, bigger. I mean, maybe speed is the better attribute against this better physical Knicks defense. But yeah, I mean, it's so tough with all these guys like Halliburton and Embiid, Luka. Like, they're hurt, but they're playing. Like, how do you evaluate Murray? How do you evaluate that.
Yeah. I suppose. I'm just like, I'm at the point where it's like, hey, there's one prize. Like everybody's hurt. You just got to go take it at this point.
Yeah, I feel you. I think it's kind of tough. I think if I were to zoom out big picture though, and like, how am I going to feel about this in a month or two? I think I'd be like, wow, Pacers second round, successful season. So
I don't know if the mics just picked that up, but Cookie just ripped one.
my dog just ripped one. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, I mean, not to be like, okay, Pacers good season, they'll pack it up. I think they're going to make these games in Indy competitive, especially without OG. But it feels like their scoring isn't really because of like, oh, OG's not playing right now, we're going to get a bunch of shots up. It's more like we're just going to play Pacer ball. We're going to play lightning fast. We're going to try to squeeze transition opportunities where they don't exist. And like, I think they're going to, be able to do that with or without, OG, the Pacers. But for the Knicks, like, losing OG's, 3-point shooting, his occasional like athletic burst to the rim, I think we're pretty big in that Sixers series, is going to hurt them. But I still feel like the Knicks are going to be able to score just because this Pacers defense has been so bad. But we'll see.
I mean, it's been next man up. Dante DiVincenzo
It's been amazing.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's the
Josh
thing.
Hart, like, doesn't miss a beat ever.
Like this series, if the Knicks swept, which was my original pick, I wouldn't be shocked. But if you told me it's 2-2 going into Game 5, I also wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. No, I think I'm there with you. It feels like the longer this series goes, the more that would be in the Pacers' favor, kind of obviously, but because they are the healthier team, and they're used to playing at this like breakneck pace.
Yeah, the Knicks, I feel like all this heavy minutes though does help with stamina for their players. If
Yeah.
they're not getting hurt.
Yeah.
All right, and the last series is Mavs Thunder. They've only played one game, and I feel like that was the J-Dub game.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't show up for the first half, but boy, did he show up in the second half.
It felt like, like they're up by 10, the Mavs like claw back, and then all of a sudden J-Dub is like, I'm just going to not miss jump shots anymore. Yeah, J-Dub was absolutely incredible. A weird game, Luka's not very effective. I think that right knee injury is like, I think that's going to maybe be the Mavs undoing this series if he can't get healthy. I mean, Kyrie was just unbelievable in this game. He really like single-handedly brought them back. He's been on fire, but it just feels like for the Mavs, it's like if Luka isn't Luka, I just don't see the pathway for them to win.
Yeah. I mean, Luka has to be an absolute superhero, and that's because this Thunder team is legit. They have so many reliable guys that I think they can turn to in a given spot. Like you were saying, it was the J-Dub game, which I agreed. J-Dub was absolutely incredible, especially in that fourth quarter. But I mean, Shea just did his thing.
Yeah, Shea does his thing.
29 points, 9 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 blocks, 1 steal, just filling up the box score. And Chet, I think Chet had some really, really great moments. There were other times, like we were talking earlier, I think Kyrie kind of owns Chet. Like I feel like anytime he came around the hoop, he was like, I'm not afraid of your rim protection at all. But yeah, I mean, the scary thing, if I'm a Mavericks fan, I'm like, like Dagnall's still playing the same rotation that they did in the regular season.
Yeah, I think one thing too for the Mavs that I'd be a little worried about is I felt like they got like, maybe this is just the plays are so splashy, so I'm over remembering like how many of them there were, but it kind of felt like they had a stretch there where Derrick Jones Jr. had like 5 putback dunks.
No, he was all around.
Yeah, like he was all around the court, and like I'm a little worried that like if like Luka doesn't really get it going, and there's a version of this game where maybe you're getting a few less putbacks, like instead of you guys maybe like turning a 10-point lead or 10-point deficit into a 2-point deficit, it's like you're kind of just perpetually behind by 8 for most of the game.
And I felt like that was kind of what this game was. It was like the Mavs did make it close even in the second half at points, but it kind of felt to me watching it that the Thunder really had this game where they wanted it at any given time, and they just had to deal with kind of the basic swings of an NBA playoff game.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to make too much inferences about this series. I feel like I kind of need to see a game 2, see if like was game 1 like Luka played bad and he has the bad knee, and in game 2 is maybe Luka plays as good as he can with the bad knee, which we kind of saw at the end of the Clippers series. Like, I feel like I kind of need that second sample to really get a proper feel for this series. Personally,
definitely. Yeah. Gordon Hayward, that dude is getting some cardio. He's just running baseline to baseline. That is all he is doing. Why is he still in their rotation?
Yeah, I mean, Gordon Hayward came in, I was like, what? I was like, what? I think I put in the group chat, I was like, Gordon Hayward's sighting.
Yeah.
It doesn't look right.
He just like looks like a headband in 2K. He just like running around, running back and forth. And Aaron Wiggins is like being this world beater. I'm like, give him all of his minutes. Like, what are you doing, Dagnall?
Yeah, I think if you're the Mavs in particular with Luka's knee, you're kind of, obviously you're not thinking about the next series, but man, if you've got a hurt knee, I don't want to play Minnesota.
No, I'm not interested in getting into that street fight. But seeing the Mavs and Thunder play, and I know they've played before in the playoffs, but boy, I want this like Oklahoma-Texas rivalry to make its way into professional sports.
I think the thing is what I've learned from having some Thunder fan friends, the Oklahoma-Texas rivalry lives through Rockets Thunder because the Harden Westbrook MVP season created a huge like beef between those two fan bases that has I feel like never mended.
Yeah, that makes sense. Not to mention just like the Harden trade and that whole
it's there is a Texas Oklahoma thing. It's Houston, baby. All right, that was kind of the playoff. We're in this weird part of the playoffs where I feel like other than the Denver Minnesota series, we just got the table set and the appetizers haven't really come out yet.
Yeah, we need a little bit. I mean, a game 3, I think in every one of these series is gonna really tell us the story of each one of these series and each one of these teams.
Yeah. Also, the weird break for Denver.
Yeah, such a long break.
It felt like game 2 was forever ago, and somehow game 3 is not even today.
I know. So, who you got in this Mavs Thunder game today?
I'm gonna go with the Thunder. I just feel like if Luka's the thing with the Mavs team construction is it's all built around Luka as the hub, and if the hub is damaged, then the system fails.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate because this is probably the best team Luka's played on.
There's also OKC is not an easy place to
No. I'm not taking anything away from OKC. It's just more so that it's the same thing with the Sixers. It's it kind of really sucks for them that Embiid's just not 100%.
Yeah.
Or, even Denver too. I'm the way those games have gone, I don't know if it would have mattered, but it sucks for Denver that Murray's hobbled because I feel like that does play into Minnesota being all right, we're going to pick you up 94 feet.
What teams do we have that are kind of healthy right now? Is it just the Wolves? Pacers? Depending on how you feel about Halliburton,
yeah, the Celtics aren't
Halliburton's healthy. Long COVID of an injury.
Yeah, that's true. I guess no team is healthy, but I think there's definitely I guess it's different when you have heliocentric teams and that star is the one who's hurt.
Totally.
Porzingis is a huge loss for the Celtics, but they're not a team that's built around Porzingis as a central hub to the half court offense. Yeah.
Even Jared Allen on the Cavs, he's a huge part of what they do, but he's not necessarily essential.
Yeah, he's not they're the Cavs are if Donovan Mitchell gets hurt, then it's oh my God.
Oh, can I bring up one thing about that series?
Yeah.
That has kind of been on my mind. Who is Darius Garland?
He's missing.
And
the Cavs are going to give you 10 first-round picks if you find him.
Darius Garland, I was sold this bill that he's new age Steve Nash when he kind of feels like Kyle Lowry without the defense. Right? Is he?
I feel like Garland is a nice spacing point guard who can run pick and roll pretty crafty, but I think the issue just is he's playing on a team where a player with a similar build and a similar skill set is just better than him, and it kind of relegates him to a role that I'm not sure. Plus, he's just not playing well.
But do you think he could be on a successful team where he is the scoring guard of that team?
I feel like the best team construction for Garland would honestly be playing off of a playmaking forward, like if you put Garland on like some 2020 Lakers team, I think he would excel. If you put Garland on like maybe the Bucks championship team, obviously in place of Drew, I don't know if that'd be better for the Bucks, but I think he would personally excel in that situation. But
so you're saying like a Mitchell for LeBron sign and trade this offseason is making a lot of sense.
I guess
to me.
I haven't seen it with Garland because he's never played with a player like that, but I imagine that's the type of player he might play better with, is like a dynamic passing small forward or power forward.
Yeah, that can get him the ball, get more catch and shoots, easier offense in his game. But yeah, he's not Donovan Mitchell. Like I don't think if the roles were reversed and Donovan Mitchell was playing off of him, I don't think they would be able to see the success that they've had.
No, Mitchell's the best player on the team. I feel like I mean, I get why Cavs fans have a weird relationship with Mitchell. His foot's been out the door the moment he got there, but he's clearly the best player on the team.
Yeah. And is he gonna get traded for Jimmy Butler this offseason?
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with Jimmy. We'll talk about that in our offseason pod.
Okay.
But all right, should we get to hot streak shooting slump?
Yeah, let's get to hot streak shooting slump. I'm having a hot streak.
Let's go.
Let me just say that.
Slump.
Coming off the slump, I've gotten. I gotta say this Timberwolves Nuggets series has made me feel a lot better about the Suns series. And then me and my girlfriend have set up our new place. It's beautiful. I am obsessed with it. We have like this loft area in it, and my cats have never had stairs before. And boy, do they fucking love climbing up there, looking over their fair city like they're Batman. Yeah, just a pretty good week at work. Can't really complain. And just like some really surprising, meaty basketball things have happened this week that I didn't expect and have really enjoyed. So that's pretty much. I'm a simple man. That's my week.
I'm on a slump.
Okay.
I just haven't had a great week. It's just a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Also, my sleep has just been pretty bad lately again. Today, like, I woke up at 4 a.m. My dog, when dogs do that thing where they just, like, rapidly spin their body?
Yeah.
Dude, my dog did that at 4 a.m. and he whipped me in the face with his ear.
Cookie.
Come on, Cook.
Just an absolute like slap, literally just like a
like
fast slap, like double
you,
bitch slap to my face at like 4 a.m. today. So I'm like, oh, that hurt.
Yeah, that's a tough way to wake up.
Yeah, I go to bed and then I just know I have bad sleep. If I hear the iPhone alarm, if that is what wakes me up, I'm in for a rough one. Today, iPhone alarm, and when you wake up and it's like your eyes hurt. You're just like, oh, I was not supposed to wake up this exact moment.
This is how I knew James was behind. By the time I got here this morning, he hadn't poured his coffee yet.
Yeah.
That never happens.
No, yeah, I was very behind. Yeah, it's just been the sleep thing is a lot, but there was a book that I read like 2-3 years ago that I feel like kind of changed my life. It's called like How to Be 3 Ways to Be Fully Charged. I don't know, basically the what word am I looking for? Thesis is like how to, the 3 ways to really keep your batteries fully charged, like mentally, physically, and I honestly forgot what the third one was, but I started rereading the book, and honestly, after just rereading the first section, I already started feeling better. So
there we go.
I'm going to keep finishing the book.
By the time you finish, I bet you'll know what that third part is.
Yeah, no, I completely, well, so it's actually really interesting. It says, to be happy, you don't seek happiness, you seek meaning. And it's like apparently anyone who pursues happiness is like doomed to fail. Like there's a lot of scientific studies that show like if you're trying to find a job that makes you happy, you'll not be as happy as someone who does a job who finds their work meaningful. So it's like attaching meaning to everything you do will actually make you happy. So I was kind of going through that like mental exercise, but then I might have been overdoing it. Like yesterday when I got a haircut, I was like, what does this mean?
You sound like someone who's ready to move back to LA.
Yeah, I'm ready to get on Overheard LA's Instagram page and made fun of by 20-year-old chicks.
Okay, Max, how is your week going?
I'm feeling good, man. My team's playing really well. It's crazy.
Hot streak then?
Hot streak big time.
There we go.
Absolutely. Been feeling great all week. My only thing is like, now that Anthony Edwards is pretty much about to become the face of the league, I'm like, I wish I had more, like, because I've been rooting for him ever since he was a rookie. I wish I had more photo evidence of me wearing like an Anthony Edwards t-shirt like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So that I could be like, I fucking told you guys.
Yeah, I've been here since the ground level, baby.
Yeah, I can Photoshop.
True.
We will co-sign for you.
Okay.
Because we met you before the Wolves took off, and you introduced yourself as a Wolves fan.
That's true.
Which, who in their right mind would do that?
Yeah, no, but it's been a good week, man.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. I feel like I know a lot of Vikings fans, and I don't know if any of them are Timberwolves fans.
Yeah.
I bet you they all are now.
I mean, have the Vikings been good in the last 15 years? I don't really follow football, so I don't know.
So the Vikings had a really weird season 2 years ago, not this past year, the year before, where they were like 13-3 with like a massive negative point differential because the 3 losses were like huge blowouts, and every single one of their wins was like a nail biter. And all year, people were like, "This is the most fake good team in the history of pro sports," and they proceeded to get like blown out in their first playoff game by, ironically, another team with the same profile of like 10 wins, massive negative point differential.
And then what's the Saints?
Oh, they had that miracle win. I don't know.
They
Did you see
had
that
that.
one? They had a game against the Saints where they like basically won on like a tipped Hail Mary
In the playoffs.
in the playoffs.
Okay, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
I watched that game with my girlfriend's mom, who is from New Orleans and is a diehard Saints fan. It was a tough day.
Yeah, I'd say the Minnesota Vikings, it's like 3 times the success, 9 times the heartbreak.
That's how it is, though. That's how it is.
That's how it is.
Gotcha.
If you get to the top, you fall farther down.
And if you get to the middle top, you still fall farther down.
Yeah.
And it's just everything. You're just always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah,
when
this
you
can
have
go
a
either
great
like
team.
this can go like one of 3 ways from here, Max. Either the Timberwolves, they have a good season, they kind of fizzle out, and it's like, what could have been? They win the title, you guys are remembered for this awesome team, or this is the start of the 10-year Anthony Edwards dynasty, and you're lovable right now, and you're going to be so hateable in 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of obviously we'll see how these series play out, and there's a lot of fun ways the West could go, but boy, does a Shea versus Ant Western Conference Finals priming us for the Team Canada, Team USA, matchups that we're gonna get. I don't know. That
That'd be
could be
so fun,
could be a
dude.
low-key special little rivalry there.
I feel like this segment is so funny because it's supposed to be like the non-basketball segment, and it always wraps around back to basketball. I guess, all right, my one random basketball thought I keep having. I've just been having it. What if Wembanyama is the best player in the world next year? I feel like I keep talking
I've thought
myself
about
into
that, yeah.
him, just like them just putting a decent team around him next year, and them just being like, "Wow, the Spurs are the 1 seed."
I mean, for something like that to happen, we kind of LeBron was around that level in his like 3rd, 4th year. That for him to be like the best player in the league as a center by his 2nd year, that would be like not some 1970s ass NBA shit that just does not happen anymore. It's Victor Wembanyama. All rules are off.
I think
but
I think they're like LeBron played on some awful teams, but like a lot of the NBA was pretty awful back then. So like relative to the league it was in, it was bad. But I feel like Wemby's roster this year, like relative to the rest of the league, was like way worse.
Yeah, no, it was awful, and he was incredible, especially at the end of the year. I mean, hey, I was hitting the Wemby depoy.
I think I literally had a dream 2 nights ago that
Bell.
the Spurs are on a crazy dynasty run. I don't know. I hope it's not a vision. It might be a vision from the future. I don't know. So you better win this year.
I fucking hope so.
I can't believe I had to grow up under the tyrannical reign of Greg Popovich, only to grow up and then
He's back.
live through the exact same thing over again.
Have you guys ever played that? I'm sure you've played Hoop Grids before.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you played their new game that's called like I Called Game?
No, I haven't.
So they have like another one now where It's like they show you a screenshot of a game, and you have to name it's like which two teams are playing, and then it's who are the coaches of each teams, which year did this game take place, and then you name like as many players as you can on each team.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It's actually pretty fun. And they show you more screenshots as you go along to give you like more context clues. You also name whether it's regular season, playoffs, or finals. I'm not that great at it, but the funny thing is that anytime the Spurs are in a photo and it asks you who the coach is, it's always Greg Popovich.
Yeah, the Spurs have never played a meaningful game before Greg Popovich has gotten there.
Literally, I'm like in our lifetimes, it's only been Greg Popovich.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know who the Thunder coach was in 2007, but I do know who the Spurs coach was.
Oh, unrelated. Because we were doing a little basketball. Did either of you catch some of that roast of Tom Brady?
I just saw clips online.
I feel like we need that for LeBron whenever he retires.
Oh, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
I'm so glad Tom Brady set the precedent that this is a good thing going forward.
I feel like
I kind of want one for Jordan too. Like especially after Last Dance. Come on.
Oh, I mean, I'm
Unseat
down.
yourself,
Jordan,
Mike.
I feel like wouldn't do it though.
No way. I don't think so.
I would like. I
feel
would
like
put
we
the
could do
bar
a Kevin
low.
Durant one, but I don't know if he'd survive. He literally might get cooked to a crisp.
Give me a Shaq one. A Shaq one would be hilarious.
Has Shaq done one? I know he's participated in them in the past. I don't know if he's been the central figure before.
Shaq seems like he's kind of in a bad way these days. Am I the only one that feels that way
I've kind
about
of felt
him?
that the entire time he's been on TV.
Shaq's kind of an asshole.
I mean, I know that, but he also seems like a little sad.
I mean, we kind of meant. I think this is it for the Inside the NBA crew. I don't think TNT or Turner is going to outbid NBC, and I think they're just going to be like, it was a great run, and NBA fans are just going to be devastated. That's my hot take for the offseason, is that this is our last playoff run with Inside the NBA.
Who would the NBC? Should we draft our like killer 4-guy lineup for NBC's new?
I think
talk
the
show?
thing is, if it's going to be good, it has to be its own thing with its own look and feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think you got to bring on RJ and Channing.
Yeah. I've always wondered why ESPN doesn't use them in like that format. But yeah, it's got to be like a really free flowing thing. I think like, what if it was, you look at like Steven Jackson, the All the Smoke guys, like they could set a very cool like kickback kind of vibe that I think maybe could work well in something like that. The toughest role is the Ernie role.
Yeah, the like straight man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like even with Lefko, I feel like
No, he can't.
the people,
he's not it. in my
They
opinion.
just don't really respect him in the way that they respect Ernie to interrupt them and to keep the conversation moving, you know?
Maybe JJ? Or is
Maybe
he-
JJ.
JJ's gonna be a coach.
Yeah, JJ's going to be the coach of either
JJ's
the
a little
Los
too
Angeles
serious.
Lakers.
JJ's a little too serious though for the Kenny role, in my opinion.
I agree. He's more of like a Kenny.
Yeah, he's
kind
like
of
more of a
figure.
Kenny, but he's not. He's too serious sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, what if we get the shocking retirement? Draymond Green, we want you to come in.
I don't really want Draymond up there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I agree.
Why?
I don't
He just
like
seems
looking
like
at
such a
his face.
douchebag.
I agree with you that Draymond's a douchebag, but like,
I guess it's like I also don't find Draymond charming and funny the way I find Charles Barkley charming and funny.
okay, I will accept that. Yeah, but like Charles is kind of a douchebag sometimes, and so is Shaq.
But I don't know. Chuck is funny.
Gilbert Arenas, our mainstay on Worst Take of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he would love to get in that mix.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you start with Channing and RJ, you've got a really good base of guys who've like established they can make fun, lighthearted NBA content. They're former players. Like that's the thing. It's not. I think the problem is when we think about remaking it, we're thinking about like who's Shaq, who's Chuck, who's Kenny, but where it's really like it should just be like this is their own version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be completely
Different.
structured differently.
Yeah.
And I wonder how, like, obviously, like, also doing it on, like, a streaming platform would change everything.
Everything,
It
yeah.
could be more of, like, a podcasty environment where you're not. The worst thing about Inside the NBA is there's fucking commercials every 2 seconds.
And it's the same Burger King commercial over and over and over.
Whopper, 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 Whopper.
What a pro wants.
Ugh,
What a pro needs.
God.
All right, we're gonna cut the episode once the one.
Whatever makes me happy.
Have a good one, guys. We will see you Monday. Peace.
I'm thanking you for knowing exactly.